Hello and welcome to the Smittcamp Family Honors College Fireside Chat. Today, I'm very excited. I have Gabriel Dillard with me. And a bit of background on Gabriel is he is now the managing editor of the Business Journal, a family-owned weekly business publication based in downtown Fresno that is actually celebrating its 30-year anniversary this year. He started with the company in 2006 as a reporter and became editor in 2009. Prior to that, he served as a reporter for his hometown newspaper, the Selma Enterprise, for 1 year. He oversees a 4-person newsroom that covers business to business dealings in Fresno, Kings, Madera, and Tulare counties. He was born and raised in Fresno and currently lives in Selma, where he moved for the 5th grade and later graduated from high school. He is a Fresno State alum and proud member of the Smittcamp Family Honors College with myself. He is married to his high school sweetheart, Elena, and has 2 children, Ollie, who is 10, and Luna, 8. He is a proud Fresno State Bulldog and advocates on behalf of Fresno every chance he gets. Thank you, Gabriel, for joining me today.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's an honor to be here with you.
Thank you. So let's give a little bit of background to yourself. You were born and raised in Fresno, then moved to Selma. So tell us a little bit about how you chose the Honors College at Fresno State.
I was lucky enough to get accepted. Actually, Fresno State was the only college that I applied for. Not to say that I kind of felt like that's where I was meant to be. I visited the campus in high school, and I loved it. That was the college. That was the big university. And, I chose it, and then I was lucky enough to get into the program. And, the program had just started at that point. I think we were the inaugural class. So, it really worked out. I'm not sure if I chose it as much as it chose me, but here I am, and I wouldn't change a thing about it.
That's fantastic. So let's talk a little bit more about your college experience. What is your favorite memory at Fresno State?
There's a lot of them. Probably related to there's a few for the program. I don't know if you were there. I think it was our freshman year. They actually invited us out to a Fresno State football game, and they allowed us to go, I think, onto the field during halftime to introduce us. And that was fun because I was actually in the marching band at that point, and everybody had to go and get ready to get onto the field. And I was like 20 rows up in the marching band section, and I just had to scramble to try to get down there because I really wanted to stand with everyone as a proud Smitt camper. And I ended up getting there, I think a little bit after everyone else, and I ran onto the field. I had my trumpet in my hands, and as far as I remember people cheering, and that was cool because that's the only time I'd ever hear anybody cheer for me on a football field. But that was a fun memory. Some of the colloquiums that we took were really awesome. I remember one where we had a John Muir impersonator, and one of my friends was asking, is this the real John Muir? And I just thought that was funny because, I think John Muir died in the early, kind of later, maybe mid 20th century. So that's just a memory that I always carry with me. There's tons of them, and it's really just the people you met, and you hear over and over that in college, really just drink it all in, and because it'll go by so quickly, and what you'll be left with are memories, and then maybe some of the connections that you made. And I have both, and just I feel so blessed for that.
Awesome. So let's talk. So the colloquium is part of the Honors College curriculum where, once a week we would come together and have a guest speaker come and talk to us. So were there any other aspects of the Honors College program itself that you felt like really allowed you to expand your horizons during your time at Fresno?
Just the courses that they had us take. I'm not sure how much the program might have changed since we were in it, but there were certain courses that were part of the general ed that we had to take. And we didn't really have much of a choice in it. And I remember some of the people would kind of grumble, like, why do I have to take a course on Armenian architecture or something like that? But I don't think there was one course that I took that I felt was like a waste of my time, even if it was Armenian architecture or anything else. It's just such a kind of a wide breadth of knowledge that they impart to you. The professors that you get, like Fresno State's a fine university, but we were lucky enough to get, I feel like, the cream of the crop of the faculty there. And I mean, that's the sort of experience that, you can't, it's a little bit more than the experience, maybe just an average student. I hate how that sounds, but, it was special, we were special and we were made to feel special. And, I just loved all the different things we could learn about.
How do you think that impacted your professional trajectory? Because to your point, I think that that's part of, the great piece of the program is that we were made to feel special, or just about every time a new professor would talk to us, they had just such enthusiasm to spend time with us. And they really wanted us to participate, right? And like to, like you said, to embrace this college experience. And so I'm curious, is that something that you see that it maybe changed your trajectory post-college?
I think it just really shaped me kind of into what I came to do as far as journalism is concerned. The funnest part of this job is learning something new every day, talking to somebody new every day. It doesn't get boring. And I think, as far as the Smittcamp program, it's the same. It's something new every day. As far as colloquia or, just the courses that they have us take, or even the people that you meet. I mean, you're in your bubble in high school. You go to this high school and your friends are, they're probably pretty similar to you. And then you get to college and you get to the Smittcamp program, and man, everybody was so different and coming from different, socioeconomic backgrounds and just different kind of political views. And I mean, I loved it. I just, it was a real eye opener. And I think it primed me. This is something that I enjoy, and I want my career to sort of be this way. And I was lucky enough to find a career that let me learn about something new every day.
So let's talk a bit more then about the major you selected. And so when you selected your major, did you anticipate that it would allow you to learn? Like, was that a factor in driving your selection, or?
I think part of it was, so I actually came to Fresno State as a pre-med student, and I got into some of my I think it was chemistry, and man, those science classes are tough. So I kind of, I took chemistry, and then I thought, I'm not sure if this is something that I was cut out for. So I'd always been into writing, and I always enjoyed writing. So I don't know how I came to journalism. I think, English might have been an option, but I wasn't quite sure I wanted to be a teacher. Yeah, that's kind of how I ended up in journalism. I'm naturally a very kind of shy person. So I think that was also a really good way for me to force yourself to get out of like a comfort zone. And I think that has helped me, just not to be, not to be afraid of asking somebody a question or calling somebody. I think that's how I ended up where I am, and I wouldn't change it.
Getting outside your comfort zone, is that something you intentionally pushed yourself to do, and you felt like journalism would help facilitate that?
I think so, yeah, because that was a big part of it. We were taking our introductory classes, and you're learning about Watergate and all that, and the heroes are the people who are they're the ones who go out and find the stories, and they piss people off, and yeah, I think part of it was that, and it's just it was a challenge through my career. Especially I got to write on the collegian and in college. I got to get some professional experience in college, and yeah, I mean, I think it was. I knew it would be a challenge, but I think it was a challenge I wanted to stand up for, and conquer it.
No, I think that's great, and I think that that's something we see across a lot of the honors college students is a willingness to get outside of our comfort zones and push ourselves and see other people do it. And I think it can help to inspire us to strive further and to go for things that maybe do feel a little awkward initially,
Yeah.
but in the long term it'll pay off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. All right, well, let's talk a little bit about your career now and how your time at Fresno State and the Honors College shaped you to be where you are today.
Well, I just think that whole experience shaped me into somebody, as I mentioned before, that's just willing to learn about new things every day. To do the research that it takes to be an effective learner, to put the work in. A lot of the connections that I've made in college are still, stay with me today, and they've been useful in my career, where, access and information is so important. And, we've all, I'm not sure about myself, but we've all turned in to be pretty well-connected people, and a lot of us have gone on to do some very kind of important work. It really did prepare me greatly for this, and it's just I felt like I was an open book. You step out of you walk away with your degree, and don't think that that's the end of the learning, because in my experience it was the beginning, and it still happens today.
Right, agreed. Yeah. So let's talk about your profession and the state of journalism in the US and the Central Valley. So I'd love to get kind of your thoughts on what that looks like at a high level.
It's uncertain, I think, like everything else. When I was in college, taking journalism classes, even then the professors were kind of warning us, the industry that you're stepping into is I'm a print journalist. I graduated with a print emphasis, so the written word is my thing. And people don't read really newspapers the way they used to. I'm not sure about the people that are coming up behind us, younger generations. I'm not really even sure how they get their news. They say it's social media. I don't know if they're picking up a copy of the Business Journal. So it's a challenge, and it's a little bit scary. I don't think there'll ever be a situation where there's not a demand for accurate, news. I think that's always going to be there. It's just how well can the industry adapt to delivering that. And when it comes to print, I mean, the state of it now is a little. It's a little scary. I mean, you look at the local sort of landscape for journalism. You have McClatchy, who's a longtime family business that owned the Fresno Bee and all these other Bee newspapers. They sold, or they went bankrupt, and then a hedge fund came in and purchased McClatchy. So the Fresno Bee is currently run by a hedge fund, and I'm not here to say whether that's a good thing or not a good thing. But it is what it is. It's definitely a shift in in the way it used to be. It's the same with the paper, the Hanford Sentinel. Actually, they're owned by, I believe, a hedge fund as well. They were purchased by they purchased it from a larger chain of newspapers. So it's difficult, and with misinformation and disinformation, there seems to be a lot of hatred for the for the media these days. I had a reporter go to the Ag Expo a couple days ago, and I think he was trying to find the press tent, and somebody said, "Oh, well, you could go to the liars tent over there." And I think you kind of have to have a thick skin with that sort of thing, because I'm not sure what's happening with that, but there's a lot of mistrust of the media right now. So and I don't know what the answers are. I'm kind of happy to have a job day in and day out. But I think if there's anything I could convey to people, maybe young people, is just to be to call out maybe misinformation or disinformation when they see it, to sort of serve that role, because there's a lot of people out there that are doing this for fun. They're doing it for profit. They're spreading bad information, and as we've seen recently, I think it has a lot of bad detrimental effects to everything. So yeah, I didn't want to be the old guy kind of talking about journalism like I remember back in my college days, talking about the demise of journalism. But here I am, I guess, and I don't have any answers, and now I realize that those people probably didn't have any answers as well. But we just do the work every day, and go home and be with our families.
Yeah, and I think that it's important to be conscious consumers, right? And so being mindful of the source, and to your, I know you said to call out false information when you see it, but then also, being selective about what information we choose to consume as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, because we're shaping the economics of these businesses.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. It's kind of the era of the paywall. Our website has a paywall. You're not going to get too many stories without running into it. We all want to monetize this any way we can. At the same time, that could serve to create hardships. Not everybody maybe has the means to pay for journalism that way. So is this another thing where it's just not equitable for everyone to have that sort of model? I mean, I don't know what else there is. I mean, there's a lot of nonprofit journalism, journalism funded by nonprofits. You see a lot of that with the Fresno Bee. They have a lot of kind of mission specific journalists that are funded with grants and various things. And I think that's great. I just don't know how long. I don't know if that's a sustainable model, but I think as much buy-in as we can get from different parts, outside of the industry, the better. But yeah, I don't know what's going to happen, Ashley, with journalism. Yeah.
Well, it's definitely unprecedented times in a lot of different ways. So.
Right.
Shall see. So given that you work for the Business Journal, you have a close view on some of the different economic development opportunities in the Central Valley. So I'd love to hear, what you're seeing and what you're excited about.
Yeah, I mean, I've been here working downtown for 16 years now. I'm excited about a lot of what's happening downtown. A lot of business hubs are locating here, like the downtown business hub. With the Fresno Hispanic Chamber. There's a lot of organizations that are there to help entrepreneurs, people, entrepreneurs of color or not, but there's a lot of programs out there. There's a lot of microloan activity that's occurring, and the word's getting out. So it's exciting to see that, there's so many people that now are especially with the pandemic, they're considering going into business with themselves. I mean, I think the numbers show that's happening at a record rate, and that's exciting to me because I think that still represents the American dream. I think to have your own business, to be your own boss, it's so freaking hard to do it, you know, and I admire them, and I think as much help as they can get, the better. It's exciting to see a lot of, you know, we like to report on the big, the Amazons, the Ultas, these big e-commerce centers. There's so much, millions of square feet of warehouse space that's being built all over the Central Valley. Fresno and Visalia are kind of locked in a competition for a lot of these projects. And you know, they're jobs, they're meaningful jobs. You know, it's exciting to see that. You know, I feel like Fresno's really kind of coming into its own as the fifth largest city in California. You have a lot of people moving here, that they're relocating here because of the cost of living, which is going up actually for the ones that the people that are here. You know, it creates its own challenges, but you know, you have. We reported on like Marine World out of Vallejo was considering possibly relocating here. You have like Great Wolf Lodge looking to relocate here. It's looking like Fresno's going to become a significant place for tourism. You know, you add Great Wolf Lodge and Marine World plus you know, Yosemite, that'll keep you busy for a week. You know, it's just. And I feel like a lot of people in Fresno, there's kind of a low self-esteem, I think, among the people here. You see it a lot with the young people. You know, I just can't wait to get out of here. It makes me think, what would it take in order for them to feel differently about their hometown? And I wonder if these are the sorts of things that might do it. I don't know what will, but I've always been, you know, proud to be here, and it's exciting to see the economy developing the way it is. You know, these aren't the greatest jobs. I mean, these aren't the jobs that our parents had, you know, with pensions, and these aren't maybe the jobs that'll get you to retirement. And I think that's probably the next step. Is you know, more people getting their college degrees and getting the education it takes to attract maybe, you know, the Googles or the Apples. You know, I think that there's no reason why we can't compete on that level, but for education. So it's, you know, it's imperative that programs like Smittcamp, you know, they keep doing what they're doing, because otherwise we're losing, you know, the best and brightest to other places, you know, other colleges, other universities. And, you know, I think we want to keep as many of them as possible.
Yeah, and when you look at the program, I think of the Honors College specifically, I think that's a big value to the overall community, is that, you know, a lot of students who go through it do end up staying locally. I think the statistic is around 3/4 of students do.
Wow.
And, you know, I think, you know, I know on social media 6 months ago or so, there was a post of residents at the downtown ER who were all Smittcamp alum.
Wow.
And, yeah. And so, I mean, when you look at the gap we have in the medical field for, you know, doctors and nurses, and to know that, you know, some of our alumni are contributing to, you know, filling that gap and providing care, you know, especially during such a critical period in which, you know, our ERs have been at capacity. So, I mean, I think that that's really an important piece, as well as, yeah, looking at, to your point, getting educated people who stay here locally and can contribute to our ecosystem, our business ecosystem here locally.
Yeah.
You know, and that can be teachers, doctors, other professionals in different spaces.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, because it's not like we're lesser than, you know. I would compare any Smith camper to anybody going to UC or even the Ivy League. I mean, the people that I've met through Smith Camp are, you know, just as bright, just as smart, just as full of you know. I think we just need to recognize that, and to, you know, as you're doing, to shine a light on it. You know, I'm sad I missed that post about the residents being all Smith campers, because that's so cool. I mean, it feels like it's like a club, you know, and there's so many people in it now. I mean, it's been so long since we went to the program, and to think that we all have that connection is really neat.
Yeah. And when you were talking about, being on par with UC and Ivy League grads, I remember I attended the Top Dog Award dinner in which Bill Smittcamp was the recipient of the award. And, and a vivid memory I have is him talking about, people who graduated from Ivy League schools, they may be able to out-talk, right? They can be very smooth. But the thing about the Central Valley and Fresno State is that, we graduate with people with very strong work ethics. And, we really work hard to live by our word. And I think that that's something that's really valuable as well.
Yeah, I mean, this experience that a lot of students have, I mean, they're raising families, they're, commuting daily. I mean, they're doing all of that and getting their education, and that, my hat's off to that. I mean, it's just commendable and inspiring. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's transition to your life now. So it sounds like you never considered moving anywhere else. You knew that you wanted to stay right here.
No, yeah. I mean, my family was here. I'm really close to my family. I have a support structure here, and I'm lucky in those regards. And I like it here. I actually moved away a little bit. I mean, I moved away for a little bit of time after college. I actually lived up in Eureka in Humboldt County. And I didn't like it. I mean, it was beautiful up there, but it just I think I'm just one of those people who likes being home. Not to say I wouldn't want to visit other places, and there very well are probably other opportunities, better opportunities in other places as far as careers go. But the people who stay here, I think, are staying here not just because they have the support, but that they're looking to make a name for themselves and to help. You kind of get into the position where you have an opportunity to maybe mentor people that are coming up behind you, and so yeah, I never thought to move here. I mean, I consider myself lucky to have the job that I have here, because those opportunities are kind of few and far between. I love it. I mean, this is where the action is, I think.
So, given the close ties to the community and being local, are there ways in which that you volunteer your time, or causes that are near and dear to your heart that you?
Yeah. I mean, my wife and I have been supporters of the Poverello House in the past, Fresno Mission, anything to kind of benefit the homeless. We do what we can there. I actually do participate in it's an advisory committee. It's for Fresno City College, but it's an advisory committee for their journalism program. And that's something that we've done. They've had journalism day over there, and I've had the opportunity to go and kind of teach courses for high school students that might be interested in journalism. So, I haven't had the opportunity to do so much of that at Fresno State, but I'm always open to it. Also, I've done some judging of journalism contests through the California News Publishers Association. I try to give back as much as I can, but I definitely feel like I've been given more than I've given back. So it'll be a lifelong kind of journey to return the favor. You probably feel the same way. I mean, it seems like from the Smittcamps to every Dr. Rodemeyer, everybody. I mean, they've just been so darn nice to us, and without them, where would we be? You just want to give back as much as you can.
I agree. I think that the Smittcamp family's initial donation was, the generosity and, to benefit from it directly was a very humbling experience.
Right.
And really just, set the bar very high in terms of, this is, a way to be a pillar in the community, right? Because that's really what family is.
Yeah.
And with that said, I mean, how do you define success as you look at your own career development and, you know, what you hope to achieve?
Well, from like my career point, I mean, I like a nice juicy scoop, like you know, scooping a story, being first to a story is kind of a big thing for us and for the industry. You know, we've won. I've won some awards. Our staff have won awards over the years, state and national and local awards. I mean, I'm not sure if that defines success, but it's nice to have. I really just think you know, to be successful is just to sort of be comfortable in your own skin and confident enough to stand up for what you believe in and to, you know, support the people that are close to you. That's sort of, I think, how you know, at least I want to define it that way is just, and how many people can you help? You know, and in what ways can you help people? I mean, I personally believe that's what we're here for, is just to sort of pass it on. That's how I define it.
I would agree. So what's keeping you busy these days?
Oh, wow. Well, you know, a lot of stuff going on in, you know, Fresno, in Visalia, all over. We cover, as you mentioned, the 4-county areas. So, I mean, it's a lot of ground, and everywhere, you know, there's just so much happening in like the real estate space. Commercial real estate's keeping us very busy doing stories on that. We just had a new reporter start. Actually, he's the one who just walked out the door a second ago, I think. But you know, and that was a challenge. You know, we kind of faced some of the issues everyone else is facing as far as finding people to you know, labor. I don't like that word so much, but finding new people to work. And so, yeah, so we, you know, it's exciting to have some new blood in here, because we have a reporter who's on maternity leave. So, and that's exciting too. Yeah, you know, just it's busy every day. I mean, we have a weekly paper. It's in print weekly, but we are a daily news organization. We do stories every day. We have a website that we post stories to. We have social media. That keeps me busy. And then when I get home, you know, the little ones keep me busy. I'm sure that you know how that is. You know, I think our kids are kind of close to the same age, and it's man, it's such an exciting time. Not looking forward exactly to the teens. I think, you know, they're probably going to withdraw a little bit, you know, I think that's just what happens. So, you know, try to soak it all in now, them actually wanting to hang out and do fun things and have family game nights and stuff. So, I mean, between work and home, I mean, doesn't seem like there's much else left.
Yeah, it's definitely all time consuming, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To be focused on both and intentional with both.
Yeah.
So anything else you'd like to share before we move into some rapid fire questions?
Maybe I had a story. You mentioned Bill Smittcamp before, and you know, he was behind Lions Magnus, I believe.
Bob was his brother.
Bob. Yeah, Bob. I'm sorry. So my story is about Bob, not Bill. Bill's a sweetheart. Bob, I remember I called to interview him for a story about, I believe there was some venture capital that was coming into Lions Magnus, and I believe I'd called him. And you'd be surprised sometimes the people you call who just answer the phone, like, you know, you wouldn't expect. You expect a gatekeeper. But, you know, I called, and Bob picked up the phone, and, you know, I asked him, well, you know, could you tell me a little bit about this? Can you tell me how much was invested in your company? And his answer was, that's none of your damn business. And I just thought it was a funny story. Like, I didn't hold that against him. I mean, he kind of came from a different era, and, you know, you can't have a thin skin in this industry. But yeah, he was a character, and, you know, rest in peace. I think we lost him a few years ago. Yeah, I just wanted to share that story. But I love the Smith camps. I deal with Bill a lot, and they're just a great family, and they're into everything now. They're running restaurants. They're doing everything. And that's just so impressive.
Yeah. So did you tell Bob that you were an alum of his program?
I didn't. I think I said, "Oh, I'm just trying to do my job," and he was like, "Oh yeah, I understand that." I didn't mention that I was an alum of the program. Didn't want to name drop, especially since it was his name. So.
Right. Yeah. Good. All right. Well, a few rapid fire questions for you. Going back to college days, what was your favorite course?
I think one of them was it Phil Levine? He was the author of
The Psychology of Time.
I love that course. Was just so interesting. That was probably my favorite. I also like the one with Victor Davis Hanson as well. Yeah. That was one of like our first semesters or one of the first years, and that was fascinating. I remember him speaking ancient Greek in class, and it sounded so weird, and I just thought that was so cool. He's actually he's from my hometown as well. He's from Selma, and my daughter went to high school with her, so that was kind of neat. Sorry, the rapid fire, that was a little bit long. I'll try to shorten them up.
Oh, you're good. Okay. So who's your favorite professor?
I loved Kathy Adams. She taught us a lot. She taught me some interesting lessons, and she'd probably be up there with Victor and Phil. Well, it's hard to pick just one.
Yeah, and for those who didn't have Dr. Adams, she was a speech communication professor. So public speaking.
Yeah.
Next one, favorite place to eat, and what did you order?
I really liked the fact that there was Taco Bell on campus, and I love getting chicken quesadillas. That was probably my favorite. Yeah. And the dorm food. And the dorm food wasn't terrible either, I spent a lot of dinners there. And
then, so now present day, what is something your classmates would be surprised to hear you're doing?
Oh, I don't know. Well, I mean, maybe stuff like this, being a little more forward facing. A lot of times we could kind of hide in the newsroom and not kind of, be out there. I'm kind of blessed to be able to do this weekly call-in with KMJ. So I get to call into KMJ every Monday morning and talk a few minutes about the Business Journal. And man, that used to scare the crap out of me every week. I was just thinking of all the tens of thousands of people listening, and now it's so it might be that just getting the opportunity to kind of to put myself out there, because it's not always the most comfortable thing.
So what's the most exciting thing in your life right now?
I mean, in my life, I think it's just my kids, the ages that they're at. My son is 10, and in just a couple of years, he's going to be, he called himself a preteen the other day. And I was like, what? Where did you get that from? But it's true. I mean, I think it's just seeing them develop, and it's scary too. I mean, this whole COVID thing with school has been such a roller coaster. But I mean, it's just being with my family is the most exciting thing, really.
Is there anything you're bored of right now, or that you really wish would end ASAP? Like all those emails we get notifying us of a COVID test case.
Yeah, I could do without those. I'm bored of. I don't know. I mean, I think it's I'll pick the thing that I think is boring, and then it disappears, and then you miss it. It's kind of a weird part of the human condition. I don't know if I could really answer that. I just kind of absorb it all, as much as I can, and roll with it.
It's a good way to handle life. What book are you reading right now?
Oh man, I haven't. Honestly, don't really read too many books these days. I read more news. I mean, what was the last book? It was probably something by Kurt Vonnegut. I went through my Vonnegut phase in college, and I try to pull out, those books every now and then. But honestly, I couldn't even tell you what the last book I read was. Like, read 1,000 news articles, but not too many.
So, what's your favorite source for news articles?
Oh, I really enjoy the Fresno Bee. I mean, I love local news. I mean, and they have a lot of fine journalists there. That's exciting. Some of the stuff that, like, the New York Times and other big publications are doing with presentation of news, especially in like mobile formats, is exciting. You kind of see that this might be the future of what we do and how people consume news. But anything I could really get my hands on, I'll read it. And if it's like news related or features, I love like magazines and stuff too. It's, just narrative form journalism.
And last question, what is one piece of advice you'd give to current college students?
Wow. Man, that's tough. I think just be open, be open to things. There seems to be kind of a culture in higher academia to sort of shut things out that might be uncomfortable. Deplatforming. I believe that there maybe are some points of view that don't deserve the same amount of attention or respect that others do. Maybe not points of view so much as just when you're talking about misinformation. I'd say just be open. I mean, listen to something. You could listen to something for a little bit if it makes you uncomfortable, if it makes you think, if it makes you reconsider your worldview. I would say just don't be afraid of that, and you don't have to love it. You don't have to agree with it, but, hear it out to a certain extent, that might be my advice.
Yeah, and that's a lifelong advice, right?
Right. Yeah, just, it's just getting out of your bubble, really, and just seeing, you might have a different viewpoint than maybe half the population, but that half of the population is not going anywhere. Try to understand them, because they're at the end of the day, they're not that much different. They might have different views, different political views, but at the end of the day, we're all kind of motivated by the same things. And, if we don't get it together, then things are really, I think we're in for a bad time. Take it for what it's worth.
Oh, thank you, Gabriel.
Oh,
thank you for joining us. I appreciate you giving of your time and sharing what's going on in your life and your profession.
Oh, thank you. I mean, listen to me for a whole hour. I love that. That's awesome. I really appreciate it. And I'm happy to be able to speak to the new people coming in. I try to keep, up with the Smittcamp thing. I get a press release that lists all the students that come in each year, and I read all of them off. And, I just think about the times that I had, and it's just, I'm just so happy and excited for them. And, anything I could say or do to inspire them or anything. I don't know if that's the case, but if it does happen, I'm just so happy about that. And I just wish, all of them the best of luck. It's their, it's going to be the time of their life, I believe. And it's gonna echo through the rest of their lives, what they do in those 4 years, and it goes by so quickly. Yeah.
Sure does. All right. Thanks again, Gabriel.
Thank you.